right, we left off in the last video just on the cusp of writing our function to actually parse out the other keys that are contained within the header of the HTTP request. Um, we finished writing this function. We now see that it's going to return us a nice string that we can start doing our chopping on. We're going to do a little bit of a different thing here. Here, we were chopping it up based off of the new line characters. We still want to do that, but what we are going to do is sort of skip over the very first one. Like, we don't care about the very first line in the request. We're handling that elsewhere. We're caring about if there's anything else. And to that extension, let's do this. So we have a vec of our strings. We have a bit of a mismatch here. This is no longer bytes, a header string. And if we want to, we can go ahead and explicitly mark that. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then we can do that. It's going to make us do the turbo fish. Since this looks like a tail and this looks like the body of a fish, it's called a turbo fish. We're going to do a vec of string. And are you going to let me do this over type of stir? We're going to have to do some transformation, are we? Alrighty, fine. Iter. Split. Construct and split. Fine. Can we do, let's add a map. Not my favorite, but let's do it. So we're going to take the segment that we got here, and we're going to convert it directly into a string. So we're going to do segment.toString. There. Now everybody's happy. We're using the correct types. And let's reformat this a little bit. I think this is short enough to be okay. So I'm just going to leave that. Alternatively, what I might do, if say there were more than just a single function that I'm running, I would split it up a bit more so that you could see the different lines of what's being executed inside of this map function. But we're not going to do that. Save that. We have our first line now. Okay, cool. Yeah. What we need to check, how long is this? We don't care about these line parts anymore. We just know that if this is only one line long, that we don't have any keys. And if it's greater than one line, then we're going to process it. So if the first line, which, let's just rename this to be our header lines. If header lines.length is greater than 1, we're going to do our stuff. Else we're going to return nothing, like there are no keys. So we're honoring at least that part of the contract. Now it's still kind of annoyed at us at the moment. And as a matter of fact, maybe let's simplify this. Let's do equal to 1. Then we're going to return none. All right. It doesn't like us doing this standalone, but that's okay. If we continue writing other logic down here, that should be happy. So we'll continue down here then. Now what we want to do is go for, okay, so first we want to create a hash map, which, well, yeah, let's go ahead. We have this hash map that we're wanting for our header keys. Let's give ourselves a bit of a boost and say I don't want to have to manually create that. So we have our debug, and I want it to create a default function. So this is sort of like the new function if you've worked with I think C++, JavaScript. This is the create. This is the init function if you're creating a class. Basically says create this struct, allocate it, and set whatever default values exist for the data types there within. So it's nice, and it's going to allow us to do this down here. Where are we? There we are. Okay, we're going to do this. Let mute header keys equal header keys default. So by deriving that default function, that default trait here, we have saved ourselves a bit of time. And that's great wherever we can do that. Now we want to iterate over all of those lines and then break it up and insert it into this structure that we've just created. So we want to skip the first line, but we want all the rest of the lines. So what we're going to do is for line in header lines, slice into that, starting at the 1th index. So we're skipping the very first and taking all the rest. And that's great. It's going to try to play games with us, so I'm going to help it out and say that we really do just want to iterate over the string. And we do. Cool. Now, we want to split this line. Line dot split. And we're going to split on the equal character. Let's go double check. So that's what we want to be splitting on, is the colon character. All right, so we're going to split on the colon character plus a space, since it seems that is what is being used. There's a chance somebody will break this and not be using that. So maybe, how to take that into account? If somebody is not being compliant, do we want to tolerate that, or do we just want to throw an error instead of our application? I am leaning in the direction of tolerating it, but what we're going to do is chop off the white space at either the beginning or the end. So here we go. We're going to do a split. We're going to go ahead and collect that. We're going to assign it to parts, say line parts. Alrighty, and it should probably let it know what those are. Line parts. Yeah, thank you. Will that satisfy you? Hold on. I need this to go away. We're going to do to do. I need to be able to not have the red in my face. All right, so we have line parts. We should make sure that this has actually two pieces inside of it, so we can check if line parts dot length is equal to 1, then actually we have an error that we should return. So at the moment we're going to panic, and we're going to have to circle back to this. Else, what we're going to do is insert it. So we're going to take our header keys dot, we need to go make its inner public so that we can reference it directly. That's fine. Come on down here. So header keys dot data. Wait, header keys. Why are you not giving this to me? Oh, key. Okay, there. moving on. Insert, we're going to do, let's say, line parts 0. This should not have any extra white space on it. Line parts 1. And this may have a white space on it. All right, so how do we remove the white space? It's been a while. It might have a trim. Okay. And we'll just double check. So trim, string fenester, which includes new lines. Leading and trailing. Okay, so this is what we want, but it's not happy about the data type that we got. Makes sense because we need to go to string. It's fine. And here, also unhappy that we are using. Let's go to string as well. And what are we asking for here? Found and stir. You know what? I think we can do this. Right. Dot trim. It'll infer a little bit here. And then we're going to add this. Boom. There we go. Nice. Nice, nice. All right, so that will iterate through all the lines. It will populate based off key name and then the value. Very nice. All right, and finally, we're going to return all of that. So we're going to go sum and header keys. All right, cool. This is wanting the option now of header keys. And we're going to go ahead and delete that. Excellent. All right, so let's take a look at this request that we're sending in. We know we have 1, 2, 3 keys. So we can test the length of that. So we can go assert EQ, header keys. Well, I guess we can make a couple assertions. Number 1, let's do assert EQ, Q, and do header keys as well. We're going to do dot unwrap dot. Well, header keys. It's okay. Header keys. I wonder if this will work, actually. I'm kind of doing an experiment. This may not like it, and this may be an unholy thing I'm trying. No. All right, I'm not gonna be able to do that. Fine. Instead, we're gonna have to do similar to what we did up here. And I think that's okay. Let's copy that style. So if header keys dot is okay, else we can do. There's a different if if you're a Rust programmer, you're probably thinking that I could just do an if-let statement, and you're right. But I can't make the assumption that everybody here is a Rust developer. So I'm going to go with this syntax for now, and then later on we can refactor and do an if-let statement instead. Okay, so now let's move our assert up into here, where we have our asserts. So we want the header keys. Let's do this. Header keys dot unwrap, since we have checked it. So we can shadow that as header keys dot is sum, since it's an option, not a result. So if it's sum, okay, header keys, we've unwrapped it and we want to talk about its key data dot length, and that should be equal to 3. And we could be explicit there. It's fine. What other things can we say? We should know that it has a key, that it contains key. So assert. I believe this macro takes a Boolean. Okay, cool. Header keys dot key dot contains key, and it should contain a key such as content length. Let's go with that. And the reference of that. Cool. I think this should work. And otherwise, let's just go ahead and panic if not the case. Blow up. All right. So this is our quick and dirty testing of it. And let's execute it. Let me open up a terminal. A new terminal. And we're going to do cargo, run, release. All right. Nothing blew up. That means we're great. We are now parsing all the values inside of the header. That's great. Next time, what we're going to move on to is do more processing on the fact that we have different types of post requests. We might be, if we have a post and it's multi-part form data, then we need to actually start going and looking, for the boundary field down here. Additionally, it might just be for, this or even that. Basically, we need to go and actually start doing more in-depth parsing of this. Even right now, with what we got, we could write a fairly basic web server. Like we had the foundation for it, being able to create some routes and potentially serve up, static files or deal with some get data. So we're actually in a pretty good spot as it is, and yeah, we're moving right along. Thanks everybody, and hope to see you next time.